Alrighty then. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Carnage's birthday. Happy birthday, Carnage. Like 2 days early, but happy early birthday, my dude.
Thank you, man. No, it's been a while since we've done a stream. I'm glad we could hang out tonight.
Absolutely. So what we have in store for tonight is banlist discussions and maybe some games. Depends on whether or not I'm still cohesive within the next hour or so.
It's gonna be pretty much the game plan is we'll do a stream, talk about the band list, what we think's going on. Tomorrow, what do we got going on tomorrow? We're getting a box of Power of the Elements, right?
Yeah,
Is that the game plan?
Yes, we are definitely grabbing a box of Power of the Elements. I might post screenshots of pulls, depending on if we pull blue or not, or any good chase cards.
If we get blue or any starlight shape or form, big happy birthday to this motherfucker.
Absolutely.
That'd be mint. Great way to end the weekend.
Alrighty, right, so let me pull up the list right here. This way the peoples can see it. So here we are with the list. Let me pull it up on my screen so I can see it, and we can get started talking. Okay, so would you like to start us off with cards to be banned, or would you like me to start, good sir?
Yeah, I'll. I think this is just going to be like 3 shots in one because they're kind of the same card if you think about it. Consistently can get them on the field, and they basically just tell your opponent no. Is Scythe, Barrier Statue, and Winda to be banned. Winda would be a check to Tier Limits, Barrier Statue obviously to Flunders, and Scythe to any Hulkifibrax, Dagda shenanigans that these decks can pull off. And even if anything happens to Hulk or anything like that, then still hitting Scythe, I think, would be a call just because you can, Sanctum, traditionally just use Sanctum and still lock out your opponent. You can basically run 6 copies of Sanctum because of Trap Trick. I think Scythe, it's time.
It's Scythe's time to go. He's been in the format long enough that he can. Literally, artifacts had their own format. This is technically the second format that Scythe's been a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, how many decks have we had that have just been able to just shit out Barrier Statue? Granted, it was because we had a Link 3 that's now banned, but now you got Flunders that can just get this card to hand and then just get an extra normal summon to get it out.
Well, think of the possibilities that could happen if Barrier Statue gets banned. You could bring back the Simorgh Link, you could bring back a lot of the Power Wing Beast cards that we lost because Simorgh was such an oppressive card. Or, specifically Barrier Statue was an oppressive card.
Yeah, and then, I mean, Winda I think is just...
I forgot one card, I am sorry. And it is another card that has to do with the Flunder hit. This card is to be limited. It is Harpy's Featherstorm.
Oh, you want to throw that in?
Yes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, Featherstorm's just literally calamities. I mean, that's nothing needed to be said as far as that. But yeah, no, I completely blanked on when we were cooking up this list. I completely blanked on Featherstorm. Shit.
Completely just thought about it.
But back to the big 3 we're talking about here. I think honestly the worst one, and this one's kind of like a heavy one to talk about because Winda has been in a lot of our deck profiles. Yours specifically, like you were the one that piloted Shadal's like for a while. I remember, but being able to go into Winda on turn 0, like potentially turn 0 before you even get a minute, is just nuts. And it's just something that's got to be put in check. Even though we just got Tier Limits, like these are also 3 very old cards that have been in the game for a very long time
That could
that
be
are
taken out.
exactly they're being used. I mean, this is what the ban list is primarily used for. Just at least lately, is that these older cards are just wicked good now because they're being good. They're being used in updated, faster decks, and them gone will kind of mitigate that power scale.
Definitely. Yeah, it definitely will help. All right.
Uh, the next one, I think that is it's actually the one that, I mean, you brought this up and I was skeptical at first, but looking at everybody else's recent ban list predictions, it makes sense because I mean, what's worse than painful choice, but a painful choice with legs. Chaos Ruler just,
Oh yeah,
I
no,
think it,
our boy Chaos Ruler here. So,
uh, it
uh, it does
go,
pain
go
me to
ahead.
say, but I believe it is time for our boy Chaos Ruler to be removed from this format, just as a more of a hit to Punk, and I guess you could call it kitchen sink or synchro spam. Uh, like it's not. It's just time.
It's
It's time for our boy to go, at
no,
least for now,
so it's just so good. There's no drawback with this card at all. Like even
whatsoever.
his, yeah, no, even the banish effect if he leaves the field. Oh wait, like you can overlay on top of him, get him back in grave, and he just keeps coming back. It's like friggin' like literally just Chaos's version of like Grapha from
Not
Dark
just
World.
that, but you
Like,
can also banish from hand too, so you don't have to use resources in grave if you don't really have the materials.
oh, that's right, I forgot about that. Yeah, no, so yeah, so he's just more versatile than anything. Like he's just such a boss, and yeah, no, it's but with how it's been going and how Punk's been used, it was either Chaos Ruler or Limit, or we were also debating about talking about E-Telly going back to one, but
I
honestly,
don't think they would hit
E-Telly,
Itelly. I think they would hit Foxy Tune.
no, I think no. If anything, yeah. But we felt like this was good enough on Punk right now, and then kind of see like what develops, because we got more hits that are kind of towards Punk, but not really.
Yeah, no,
Um,
definitely. Then bringing speaking of like punk adjacent decks like adventure, and other things. So another hit we were bringing up was Griffin Rider for
this,
adventure,
yeah.
which
Tell me this. No, but you made a good point. Tell me this is like not something TCG
oh, absolutely.
TCG.
This is what TCG would do because like you have the OCG, which generally likes to hit. All right. The funniest thing that I love about, or the funniest thing that I notice about the TCG versus OCG ban list hits, is obviously,
Mhm.
like we discussed before. You stated that the OCG generally tends to look at the consistency cards and likes to semi-limit them or put them at like a limited status, such as Nadir Servant and like for instance, they cut freaking Water Enchantress down to 2. They put the actual Armisier down to 2. TCG loves hitting freaking negation cards, loves it. Will shoot them down
No,
like a freaking bat out of hell the minute they get the chance. And honestly, I think Griffin Rider is probably the best hit because it does not stop the deck from being able to play. It makes it just where you don't have to hit any of the consistency shit, and the deck can still play a free level 7 in Illegal Night.
right, exactly. Like I mean, back to what you were saying, evidence of OCG versus TCG's like mindset of the game. Look at how OCG handles dinos. Like they've gone back and forth on Overraptor, Fossil Dig, the
The
babies,
babies.
them. Whereas TCG, it's like, nah,
Misk.
friggin' just
Fucking
knock,
Misk.
miss, hit, call it a day.
Yep.
um this would literally be the same thing. It's like you got these cards that, yes, they're one card, like one or two, like two bodies, one that's a dick to deal with but also has a bounce effect. And then you could, I mean, without Griffin Rider they would just go to what's his name, that other adventure card that like pops 2 cards but switches control.
Yeah, no,
You
illegal
know,
might. Yeah, that's what.
ille-
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, like, they would just like kind of mitigate that in, or who the hell knows if they just come out with more adventure cards. It's such a small archetype that they could easily give it like a little bit more just to like kind of replace it. But honestly, Griffin Rider, like the best comparison. I mean, and this will be a good transition to our next band card. It is literally just adventures, totally awesome.
yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
So yeah, fair point. Totally awesome. It is either his time to go or they need to limit swap. But more on the swap frog discussion later. Um, totally awesome being water recursion, a negate, literally summons a freaking dupe from deck, which means you have to kill the dupe before you can even swing over the toad. Like, also the fact that sprites can literally summon, can essentially have 2 Omni negates just off of it.
yeah, and there's we already know hitting it to 1 does nothing, because when we had the master ruling switch, and then they hit ABC Buster and Toad to 1, predicting that they were going to be overpowered. It did nothing. It did nothing
Literally nothing.
until Sprite came into the picture. And now it's just like, I mean, it a level 2 deck that can spam a shit ton and just get you like these free bodies. Yeah, no, Toad just fits right in. Um, and that's the thing, is like, yeah, it's just so much advantage. You're negating, you're stealing, you're getting cards from deck. If you're running the other frog package, he just comes back into your extra deck, and for you to do it all over again. I'm more leaning, like you just said, I'm more leaning towards the swap frog side of things, because again, back to how OCG versus TCG, they just outright banned Toad on their end. I see us keeping Toad at least for another format and see how we do with Swamp Frog at 1.
Yeah, because I'd like to see them hit. Um, I would rather see them hit like swap, because swap has always consistently been a problem. Like, all right, subs to Toad FTK, frickin' Frognarks, like literally throughout the entire history of Yu-Gi-Oh, whether you watch the series that Simo's doing, or you actually pay attention to like the way that the formats have been structured throughout the years, a lot of early
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh, before I want to say like Xyz and like Synchros really took up, well, probably like mid Synchro tier, like mid Synchro, early Xyz.
Yeah.
Frognarks was a very popular deck, and any frog adjacent variant was very popular, and the main card that was used was Swap Frog.
No, it's just wicked good. And again, similar to how Griffin Rider is. It's just like either put a check in it. Either we copy OCG, but I mean, history shows with us. Um, yeah, I'm saying Swap Frog definitely. Um, and then on that note, like, since we're talking about water cards, Halka Fibrex, it's time.
Yeah, it's
It's time.
definitely time.
It's time. I think that if I'm thinking, like, honestly, Hulk of Fibrax and Electromite are like
One and the same.
they're no, they're like long lost cousins. And look at what happened with Electromite banned. All these cards that are for Pendulum support that have been on the list since for a long friggin' time,
I've just come back.
are slowly off the list. I mean, if Hulk banned, like, you can start opening that floodgates for the tuners that are on
Exactly.
this ban list.
I mean, hell, you might
Because
even at that point you might even start seeing decks like, um, what is it? We're getting Blackwing support coming soon. We're
yeah,
getting we've already had a lot of junk support, so junk speeder, junk synchron, that whole archetype, and the Stardust stuff. We
yeah.
might actually see those decks come back and take off, or hell, you might even see Assault Mode take some sort of step into the future, which I would love to see Assault Mode come back. as like its own standalone like stun variant, especially with skill drain at 3 because it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and then again, like mainly it's just also. I mean, you could argue that you're already hitting Scythe, and then after that, what can Hulk do? And it's like, well, that's the thing is that how many hits have we done to cards around Hulk of Fibrax? And it's like there's always something new
There's
that comes up.
always another card that will cause Halcrofibrax to become a problem in the format. I mean, hell,
It's just
it's
funny how
unnecessary.
it's like freaking how it's stuck around for so long, and it's like it just shows how resilient we are as players. So it's just like, oh, this got banned, okay, but I still have Hulk, so I can still do this and that. Oh, and then I just discovered this and I can throw this in.
Oh, what is
And
it?
friggin'
Before they hit a
random.
lion, or no, just after they hit a lion with a Rorodon, you saw what people are doing, right? The level 3 Mecha Phantom Beast tuner that they would summon off of a Rorodon.
Oh yeah. Oh god, I forgot
Yeah,
about that.
so
Oh,
they would use it to finish the hand loop in Mermail. So like you go through like the full Mu and Glacier combo, you'd like get to the point where you could set up um the Aurorodon combo, and right at your tokens, you would go tribute Aurorodon and one other monster in one of the tokens, summon the level 3, special summon a level 9 Synchro that just hand loops your opponent for 2.
yeah.
And it's so
No,
it
but
wasn't
it's
really
like
good,
but
but
it's that creative shit that comes up that is like, oh my god, it's like. But again, this is what Konami has given us the ability to do by not hitting Hulk. You get rid of Hulk, and then it's like, well, then you can't like climb. You can't climb those ladders or find those connections like all that easy now because the problem card is gone,
exactly.
or the centerpiece that holds it all together
Oh
is
no,
just out of
no, the problem card would be gone.
yeah,
The
and
entire excuse me.
it's time. It's time for Hulk to go with Electromite through those pearly gates, and then they start letting go the tuners like they have been with the pendulums.
That'd be nice to see. Well, I think that is the perfect time to start swapping over to the limited section, talking about
Do you
releases and other situations.
do you want to just drop the big three that we're thinking about, the big elephants in the room?
Ah, are you talking about the
So
ones to bring back or the ones to uh,
so
go to limited?
I think the ones to bring back, because like the last ban list was just such a jaw dropper. We got like a monster spell and
All right.
trap that have been on years.
In that case, then yeah, we'll go for it. So for our specific wish list, just to follow the theme of Konami following like bringing back asinine old board wipes, like hell, cards that have been literally on the ban list for over 20 years. Cards like freaking Raigeki, Dark Hole are all at 3 in this format right now, and we just got Harpies back to 1. I would like to see Cyberjar, or what was it? My friend Carnage here would like to see Cyberjar. We would both love to see Heavy Storm come back to 1. And my vote was Return from the Different Dimension. Dimension Fusion can fuck off. That card does not belong in at any limited status. But Return could come back mainly because it is very slow. Just yeah.
Yeah, it's slow. It's if you don't have the setup for it, it's basically dead. If you have little to nothing banished, you're not going to get. You're paying half your life points and getting very little reward off of it. And again, it's a trap card. I mean, unless you want to do some stupid shenanigans with Machiura the Destructor, but again, setup. It
Yes,
requires,
so much setup.
and again, in
Izolde
a form.
combo, fucking a whole mess of bullshit. Yeah. Yes.
Right. No, we're in a format where, again, whether Winda is in the format or not going forward, we're still dealing with a deck that can do shenanigans on turn 0 I mean, this card is just too slow. I mean, same thing with Cyberjar, but at the same time, look how long we've had the Morphing Jar number 2, and Morphing Jar number
We've
1
literally
in
had
the game,
Morphing Jar 2
and they're
at
not.
freaking 3. We've just at
No,
3.
nobody
It's done nothing.
flip no, flip decks are dead. Like, unless it's like something that does crazy shit like Guru or Tin Dangles, like flip decks are basically dead. And Cyberjar is just, it's a fun card for back in the day. It's realistically, who the hell's gonna set this expecting your opponent to allow it to flip, or who even, or half the time you don't even want it to go off. It's just there, like, you want it to board wipe, but you don't want it to give your opponent more cards or to replace the bodies.
Oh no, even worse, right? So they hit, you're up against some shit like Sword Soul. They hit all level 4 lowers and just hoorah. Here's
No,
an
and
entire
it's,
field.
yeah, and then no, and then look what happens. Yeah, but also we also have like graveyard effects now that just blanket protect everything, like full on Dingirsu, an entire board of monsters. That it's like, freaking, what was the point of wasting my time with a Cyberjar when I could have just like baited that out with like a Regeki or a Dark Hole? It's like
Like,
Cyberjar's
the
just
only thing you'd see
way too freaking
Cyberjar in
slow.
my opinion, would be Guru. I would see Cyberjar and Guru consistently, and I would play it because it's fucking funny, and that is the only reason.
That'd be fun, and it would be something like fun to do with Guru, just to like see, just as
Other than
to
Guru,
do
like set
stupid
5
shit.
pass.
Right. I mean, but again, like, yeah, the main point is like similar to Yanagarasu, like coming back off the list, because it was just like, again, for what it is at its time,
Also, this card can be
it
ashed so quickly. This card's gonna get
yeah.
ashed immediately. Like, the minute this card flips over, it gets ashed. Hardcore.
Oh no, that's true. Yeah, you can yeah, you can ash it if it's not during the damage step. Yeah, you can just fucking shut it off. Shut it
Because
off if your opponent just goes up and.
so funny enough, the way that Ash Blossom
Mm.
works, Ash Blossom can still. So yeah, it's not
Oh,
during damage calc that she can activate.
uh,
It's when an effect resolves. So like, she can stop specifically. I think it's the Giant Rat interaction. I think she can stop Giant Rat and like floaters, where damage calculation has already been preceded. Certain flip effects, I believe she can stop. If I'm correct, she can stop um, flip effects like what is it? Oh my god, like the mandatory, because they're mandatory flip effects. If I'm correct, I don't know.
yeah.
It's not. It's the way that the battle step works. Because like it flips first, and then you proceed to damage calc. So like the flip effect triggers
Yeah, but
when it's flipped.
yeah, so but regardless, like a situation that'll come up like maybe once in a blue moon, but who the hell knows. Regardless, it doesn't matter, because half the time this card is going to get popped while it's face down, unless it's forced face up by your opponent, in which case it's
Like,
not
what are
even
they
going
gonna
to be
fucking
by
play?
bat.
Book of Taiyu?
Yeah, in which case, yeah, definitely Ash. But just to move it forward, we were debating about Heavy Storm versus Trunade to come back, and honestly, with
Heavy
True,
Storm would
we're
be
in a
way better. Trunade is a little too broken. I
Trunade.
agree.
Trunade, yeah, no, would still be too powerful, especially where we have floodgates that are a problem, but like that are a problem, and like talking about one, like skill drain, obviously being like a big one that a lot of people are complaining about. So to be able to not only clear your opponent's side of the field for at least a turn, but also to shut off your skill drain, go off, and then just reset everything is just too broken. Heavy
Yeah.
Storm is Heavy Storm in a format where we already have so many board wipes for back rows. It's like it would just be a welcomed addition and just kind of solidify that we have more than enough firepower against floodgates and back row heavy decks.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Like
it
no,
would. I think
like
it would help to shut down a lot of the stigma going around right now of it being, oh, Floodgate format. Also, another hit I could possibly see is anti-spell to 1.
yeah, but yeah, I can kind of see anti spell, but at the same time, well, we haven't gone into the rest of our list, but yeah, anti spell. I still feel like it's not Imperial Order by
No,
by
it's
any
definitely not
stretch.
IO, but like it's definitely limit worthy, if anything. Like if as far as it comes to like checking cards that need to be checked, I think anti-spell at
Yeah,
some point will become one of those cards that is looked at.
yeah, but again, more solidifying why True Nade could never come off the list because I mean, even being able to bounce back a
Global
fragrance,
Sephiros.
yeah, or exactly. But yeah, no, those big three just to kind of like I feel like they're definitely more powerful than the three, Change of Heart, Yada, and Time Seal. These are definitely going to be more
You'll see them
impactful, but also
played.
yeah, you'll see heavy in the side deck with you won't see I doubt you'll see Cyberjar and Return in
I
the
mean,
metagame. You'll
I
see
would be I would
Storm in the side.
I wouldn't be surprised to see return in like um chaos variants or like certain decks that could actually use it like Sword Soul, where they banish a lot of their shit and just as a way to like recover stuff to like maybe fade a battle step or something.
Yeah. Otherwise, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be paying half their life points to bring back some bodies to save themselves from being OTK'd.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
Let's go with the cards to be hit if you'd like to start.
yeah. So we talked about obviously Winda getting banned as a strike to Telements. We're hitting Adventure and we're hitting Flunders. But for the decks that are going to kind of like take advantage of those hits, we think that they're gonna be preemptive hits just to kind of prevent them from taking over the format. Obviously branded because branded had its limelight before tier limits
Absolutely.
came, and we got branded pretty much around the same time as adventure, and then tier limits just kind of just took over everything. But branded is still a wicked good deck, a wicked good engine.
It's a wicked
um
good engine for tier elements, especially.
So we'll go over the semi limits. We actually have a decent semi limits. I think a lot of people that used to hate the semi limit sections we're just kind of accepting that the semi limit section, like, there's actually more cards that could be added. But for right now, for limits, definitely branded opening. We were thinking about
Opening.
Aluber,
I
but
was thinking, yeah,
branded open.
Louver the Boober Doober. But yeah, no. Opening is kind of the main segue for that deck, in my opinion, because it gets dead cards out of your hand, like specifically Eldritch or other tier elements, just where you can trigger them in graveyard. Um, and
Also has a protection effect, like what we were talking about with
yeah, exactly. Literally is Void Seer in the graveyard.
yeah, it's just wicked good. It's a wicked good card.
Um,
Um,
Another good branded hit would be Albion, for instance, because a lot of players like to send one Albion off of Mirror Jade or a couple Albion off of Mirror Jade to keep cycling through their branded fusions or get like their other branded spells and traps out of the deck.
yeah, we have Albion on here, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
Albion
no,
2.
okay. I got it right here further down. Okay, yeah, no. And Albion makes sense because like a lot of people have been realizing that, oh shit, I need 3 copies of this in my extra deck because it's like you're not only just using one for a fusion summon, you're sending another one off of to the grave to get that recover effect to get either another branded fusion or even the counter trap, whatever you want, to basically for follow up for next turn, and getting Albion to 1, along with so you're hitting the consistency with opening, but you're also hitting the recovery with Albion, and I think those are both like really good hits to kind of put the deck in check. So basically, you're getting Mirror Jade, and then that's it. You're not getting your
Yep.
recovery after that. You're only getting like the one Mirror Jade, and then you're gonna have to try to finagle your
I
plays
mean, they'll
from there.
probably start throwing in like the other engines, probably like Dogmatica. You might see more branded Dogmatica decks due to the fact that you can send like Titanic Lad from your extra deck instead to summon or to add Ecclesia, for a next turn play. If you don't want to dedicate too much towards the other branded half, or if you need for instance, like a Fusion Destiny, for example, style of play where you need an extra engine just to fill a couple holes in the deck.
Yeah,
Giggity.
yeah, but 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 yeah. And you had mentioned Eldritch. That's another deck that'll just
I mean,
slowly climb up.
yeah, I think just Sanguine Limit will be perfectly fine. We were thinking about hitting what was it, Eldland? But Eldland on its own isn't enough, I think. I think leaving Eldland alone is perfectly fine because I'm sorry, but how many times have you seen Eldland, Golden Lord, and been like, well, I really wish this was a Sanguine?
Yeah, no, I mean Sanguine. It's mainly it's the safest hit without hurting the deck too much because
Still three
it's got
fucking
such
Spectre
a fan
Awakening.
base.
Still
Oh, I
three.
know. I mean, it literally has a spell card version of this that does the same thing, just gets
Literally.
golden
Yeah.
deck. And Sanguine just allowed for interactions on your opponent's turn, which is always huge. I mean, despite it being a trap card, because we always knock trap cards for being too slow, but this card is just stupid searchable, and it opens up those interactions with Eldritch on your opponent's turn. And honestly, like Eldritch, along with archetypes like Invoked, have just kind of dodged the ban list as much as Hulk of Fibrex. So it's just
Yeah.
kind of just a safer bet that this is probably the time that they're going to nick Eldritch enough to make it so that they're not like overpowered when
I
all
mean,
these other decks take it.
this also allows them to not really have to hit like a lot of the floodgates that people want to complain about, and pretty much it allows people to have, if you want to play stun and you want to like stun the shit out of the opponent, that's fine. Play Geist, play Inspector Border stun, play Fossil Dyna BS, but be prepared for
Yeah,
heavy harpies evenly. Be prepared for those board wipes because if you don't have enough judgments, use is fucked.
yeah. And then speaking of stun esque decks, Fluwonders, we already hit Barrier Statue, but Fluwonder
Map.
um map. I think honestly, map is just it's really good. It's a really good card. Like it's almost funny because it's a card that kind of needs like some setup. Like yes, but not really. Not with Flunders, really. Like but it helps the deck so much.
Oh no,
And
I've seen my fair share of a dead hand with map in hand, with no birds to like do anything with. Like you'll top deck like stray map and like nothing.
yeah,
Like you can get into like Eaglin stuff, but you'll have like no banishes in grave. You'll have like it becomes a little crusty, especially if you're cutting down a card like this to one, where the interactions each fucking ghost over it, you know.
no, but and that's the thing too. But we're also talking about a deck of level 1 birds,
Bird.
which sounds minuscule at first when you think about it. But look at how many ways you can just between cards like Small World, Jack in the Hand, like etc. There's just so many ways to make sure that you have prosperity, and other ways to just dig into your deck and just
I
get
fucking
to.
hate this deck.
I know you do. I know you do. That's why I was like, I wasn't gonna like whatever you thought was fair against Flunders. I was just like, I'm not gonna argue. I don't want to. I don't
I
want to do
mean,
this on
like,
my birthday.
I'm not gonna shit on the deck's good. I hate it because it's good. It's a good deck. I've played it enough to understand how it plays. Totally forgot that Zombie World rips this deck a new one, and I find it funny as shit that I forgore. But it's more of a I'm so tired of seeing normal summon gazillion fucking. I'm so tired of fucking communist turns, man. I'm so fucking
um,
tired of. This is our turn, not your turn. This is our turn. We
no, yeah, no,
share this turn.
but between this and barrier statue getting banned, I think that knocks Flunders down enough.
Yeah, definitely down a
Um,
peg. I did kind of want to throw in Featherstorm just on a side note. It's fucking Mystic Mine, but a trap card, man, and you can fire this shit from hand if you control a Harpy. Like, any
and
deck can make that level 8 synchro, so, you know,
yeah,
this card should be limited to one. Especially
yeah,
since literally popping the back row for, what is it, I think it's, is it Hysteric Sign? The one I'm thinking of, the continuous spell, that if it's sent to graveyard at the end phase, you just search 3 fucking Harpy cards.
yeah. That's it. Yeah, hysteric son.
Yeah, you just get instant free, like, back row. You can just send that shit off of Eldritch.
Yeah.
Like,
Um, yeah, no, it's dumb. Yeah. Oh no, that's right. We also I forgot you threw Stormwinds too. So yeah, sorry, not Stormwinds, Featherstorm.
yeah,
So yeah, between Storm statue and the field spell being limited to one,
that's
uh,
fucking plenty.
that puts Flunder in check. But you had mentioned a giant mystic elephant in the room.
Oh, absolutely
Um,
fucking Mystic Mine needs to be limited to
people
one.
people are arguing this thing should be banned, and it's like freaking well, right, but I mean the biggest thing is like the decks that dedicate around it because it's at 3. If
Yes.
at 1 it's a
It's
side.
literally Necro Valley stun. Do you remember when people wanted fucking Necro Valley banned?
Well, no, but that's my point. Like, look, like Necro Valley, unless you build a deck around it. But again, if Necro Valley itself was down to 1, like, what are Gravekeepers doing?
Just,
Nothing. Well, they're not doing it now, but that's a terrible example. But the point with Mystic Mine is that you can build a deck around 3 Mystic Mine.
you know what?
You can't build
Better yet,
around mine.
fucking diagram.
You can
Fucking diagram.
no,
We'll bring up Dracos here because Dracos was definitely a deck that fucking like pretty much would set up a board state like Mystic Mine because it would sit there with Big Chungus Boy that pops a card that you is very hard to swing over, and he's unaffect. You go to fucking Raigeki him, Dark Hole, whatever the fuck, and he's unaffected by spell cards. Oh, you didn't read
yeah,
what you didn't see what card I sent. You
yeah,
know,
right. And the big reason why we're not talking about banning Mystic Mine. Like I said, you can build a deck around 3 Mystic Mine. You can't build a deck around 1. It's a side deck option at that point at best. And then,
or
but
it's just a one
compared
of
to
staple with the terraforming kind of
right,
situation.
right, exactly. But also, it's like look at what we have banned. I mean, yeah, you could say the same thing. Well, this card doesn't allow you to play the game, and it's like right, but that's when it's at 3. Look at what we have banned. All of them are banned because they can get them straight from the deck or from the extra deck on turn 0 or turn 1, and they're all one ofs. Mystic Mine is only good at 3, and once you out it, or if you can out it, then it's basically what are you going to do?
I mean, at
What
that
can
point,
your
it turns into a fourth Dark Roller, in my opinion.
right? No, exactly. It basically is a 4th Dark Ruler, or even just a 3rd better Dark Ruler. Because most people just only like side deck 2, anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and then
Back to the
so yeah,
right topic.
and then if it gets yeah, and then if we just follow OCG, and then we go a format with it at 1, and it's still a problem, then yeah, then ban it.
Yeah,
Um,
no, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Uh, I want to take the time to swap over my boy Swap Frog, just to get that out of the way real quick. And then we could talk about the tuners, and then switch to the some elements. Or at least, yeah, that's great. We'll,
well,
we'll
yeah,
get through we'll get through the last two like super quick. All right, so Swap Frog is in case they don't decide, like we said before, in case they don't decide to ban Toad. Um,
yeah,
It just hit the consistency because I'm sorry, I think it would be funny as shit to have somebody play instead of 3 swap, 1 dupe, 1 Rodin. 3 Rodin, 1. Sorry, said that wrong. 1 swap, 3 dupe, 1 Rodin.
Yeah,
Because
which would
you're going to need to see that swap eventually.
yeah, which is significantly slower.
Oh,
So yeah,
so much slower.
if they don't if they don't ban Toad, then I see swap going to 1, and then we obviously with Hulk coming off the list, out of the tuners that we think would slowly come off the list,
I think Steam the Cloak would, yeah. I agree, Steam the Cloak
yeah,
would be one of the first.
two came to mind. Two came to mind. We'll get to the second one in a little bit, but yeah, Steam the Cloak just seems like Steam the Cloak is not like a Gofu. Like Gofu, I still think even with Hulk banned, like still is ban worthy. But Steam the Cloak, it's just something that just you again you have to be able to have the cards that can use with it to kind of like take the best advantage off with it. And but on its own, it's just yeah, it's just Steam the Cloak that also gets you a token for more synchro climbing. But I mean,
Oh no, what
like,
decks are going to terrorize me with
that's
this?
its intent is for like
Black
just
Wings? Am I going to get
but
colluded for 12? Gazillion? Nah.
that's true.
Colluded for boost for 14?
So yeah, that's what so yeah, how getting banned, we can start slowly introducing tuners off the list, and Steam the Cloak just seemed like the safer bet.
Alright, do you want to get the, let's get the first, like, first 2 normal picks off of the semi-limited. So, I wanted to say the generic one, I'm gonna guess if you'd like to start off with branded. Feel free.
Yeah, branded fusion. I think branded fusion has made itself like very much. It's just a
Fucking
beast of a
Fusion
card.
Destiny, right? It's
It's just
fucking...
it's better than in a ways it's better than Fusion Destiny, but also that being said, it's pretty much on par. Like you get so much advantage off of the DPE combo with Celestial and Dasher, but with this, you're getting like we were talking about. You're getting 2 bodies on the field. Often you're getting a card that's a board wipe and that also can banish a card and also set up for recovery. Branded Fusion does a lot and it does so much. And even for something as simple as you're getting shit from deck to grave, and for a lot of decks like Eldridge is using this not only for mirror jade or Albion into mirror jade, but also just to get a golden lord in grave faster. I mean, that kind of like creativity like that, or even just simply getting fairy tale snow into grave, like this card like does like things
It's
that it
literally
does.
Flourish Burial. It's fucking Flourish
Yeah,
Burial for, like, essentially whatever you want it to be that can friggin' fuse with an Outbows monster.
yeah, I mean, and again, Anaconda is banned. We're not talking about friggin' regardless if it's banned or not, we still think that we'll go on that record that Destiny Diffusion is still should be semi-limited. I mean, just it has shown this format with the lack of DPE that we've seen in top cuts that putting it on the semi-limited list, like Konami actually knew what they were doing as far as like, okay, this is definitely a card that is good, but we can knock it just enough, and people will start
Yeah,
seeing.
you knock it by 1, take out a couple of the consistency cards from, like, Despia, keep it, a little bit
Yeah,
self-constrained, and I think you'll find the deck a little bit more, honestly, I'd like to see people more going, like, with a xenophobic archetype version of it. Like, start
yeah,
taking Dogmatica and incorporating that line of cards, or hell, adding the new beasted monsters that'll be coming out. Um, and then the other normal pick, Prosperity is just everywhere. Prosperity's
yeah.
just been literally, it's in every deck, everywhere. Let's just put it with Desires. Let it chill at 2. You'll see it.
Yeah, no, I honestly like Desires at 2. I like that it's like good for you can still use it in every deck, but like the decks that need to see it like are a little bit less overpowered. Prosperity, same thing. Prosperity is just like next to desires, like probably the best pod card we've had in fucking years.
Yep.
Extra like not even like extravagance like had this kind of uptake, and I don't even and even the price on this, I don't even think we've had a pot card this fucking expensive. Like not even pot agreed was this fucking expensive back in the day. This card just does things, and
Well,
being
it's
able
literally part of duality. Actually, I think if I'm correct, duality was around that price. Duality hit about like the $80 mark at some point, and Extrav even hit like the $70 to like $75 mark in the TCG
yeah, but
markets. It's
yeah,
not fucking Prosperity's. What I think when it peaked, Prosperity was 100,
yeah,
100 to like 110.
no prosperity. Last I checked was almost in like the 140s, 150s. But again, that could have.
Shit.
But no, regardless, no, and that and you brought up a good point that this card is just a better duality. Look how revolutionary duality was back then. This
Dude, it
is
was
the
in
duality.
freaking decks that literally were quote unquote turbo or aggro decks that were supposed to summon out a crap ton of big bunguses, turn two. They were playing duality at 3. Or they were
Yeah,
like stuffing in like 2 duality and shit.
yeah, no, prosperity. I think that would be a good hit. Again, like you said, along with desires, and then also giving opportunity to like maybe other draw cards to slowly creep off the list. Transitioning us into Sekka's Light.
Oh,
Sekka's Light.
yes.
Sekka's Light is garbage at 1. Nobody is touching it.
Oh, I
At
totally forgot to throw in Second's Light and totally unplugged my headphones like a dumbass.
it to 1 in the first place. Like it was, yeah, it was part of a gimmick deck. You're running only 3 of this and no other spells and traps, but it's a pot of greed. It's still a
It's literally
pot
pot.
of greed.
It's literally pot.
And it yeah, I mean, I don't know if it ever took like any YCSs or anything like that, but I'm sure it had successes in like regionals and shit like that. I know Burning Abyss like would freaking love this card, but at 2, I don't see it doing too much. I think coming it back, getting it back at 2, and then people wanting to play around with those gimmicks again would
Listen,
be fine, but they're not going to be doing.
if people want to do me the favor of freaking dedicating 4 monsters on their field to make freaking Alan Version to search goddamn Sekka's Light, be my guest and I will happily ash you on your neg 5 there, friend. Because you have to detach all 4 material, buddy.
Yep, and then
Nice.
speaking of draw cards or possibly draw cards or pot of greed or um, tactics talents. Tactics
Yes,
talents
Tactics Talents and Dark
or
Ruler.
or or I mean I feel like or Dark Ruler. I'm leaning more towards
Yes.
tactics talent because tactics talent is
So
literally
many top cut builds are running triple tack and Dark Ruler right now, like it's mained everywhere. But I could see
well
why
no
you're leaning towards tactics more towards because Dark Ruler literally says it's got the card of demise restrictions. No damage towards the opponent. You just blanket negate all of them, and it's they can't respond to it with monster
but
effects.
it's right but it's only monster
One
effects and it's
effect,
only
and
what
it's only one
it,
effect.
right and again we have decks that have the back row like to plan around that or the shit in hand or graveyard that they can still use. So Dark Ruler is not perfect. Tactics talents has so much versatility and again it's literally just the card that answers like is the reason why Call by the Grave can is fine at 1. If we had 3 call by with 3 tactics it would just be nuts. um having this card basically being able to punish your opponent for using hand traps during your turn, and then you're either getting a +1, you're stealing a monster, or you're sniping a card out of their hand. Either way, this card like does change like the game state, like the turn it's slapped down. rewards you for your opponent trying to slow you down. But yeah, no, and you had made a good point. Um, that we're hitting a lot for of decks of cards that are for going first or trying to set up for going first. This would be like the niche to hit those decks that like are trying that for going second, for going second.
Yes.
Basically, I see your argument for Dark Ruler. Bigger, like definitely has helped me out in the long run more than Tactics Talents, which is probably why I'm a little bit biased. But Tactics Talent is showing more representation,
No,
and
absolutely.
is
Triple
like
attack is definitely represented a little more. The only decks that really are main decking Dark Ruler is mostly like Sprite and like tier, like the top two. The top two that really need it for going
yeah,
second, like that can set up for going first pretty well, but really need a go second board breaker.
yeah. And at the same time, we're talking about semi-limiting. We're not talking about limiting.
Nah,
So
nah,
it's
'cause, like there's no reason
not.
to put these cards at one. They're not to the point where they're outrageous. Like Tactics Talent straight up isn't Change of Heart. You're not just activating these effects for free. You're not getting Pot of Greed, Change of Heart, or Forceful Sentry for free. You're just, hey, if your opponent happens to activate this X card type's effect during your main phase or during the main phase, activate.
Yeah.
You know.
Um. So we got a few more cards on the semi-limited list. I'm gonna let you take this one. Because you wanted to. I want to hear your take on this because I'm still kind of iffy, but
Oh,
also
card destruction.
also this creation that they cooked up. Rapier.
Oh, rap here. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I got you. Pardon me. Okay, so my whole thing about rap here, right? Literally, once they hit Dryden, Zodiacs really kind of obviously they fell off like super bad. I mean, you see them in like Master Duel and shit underneath like weird Tri Brigade replays and stuff, or like Adventure Zodiac that's just kind of running around in the side, like side events or locals. Um, I think Rapier could come back to 2. Mainly, it's dumb at 3. I think Rapier at 3 is a little too much for a format right now, but Rapier at like 2 is perfectly fine. The worst your opponent's gonna be sending is like combo to graveyard, or they'll set up like Ram combos. But the main setup really is the fact that it gives them a setup for something like something other than fucking Zeus Pass. I want this deck to do something besides Zeus Pass, and I'm so sick of them just blind second into Borbo Zeus. I want to see them do like Utopic Draco combos, or like, make freaking the Infinite Track Link 3. Just slap down a big boss monster that can just
Yeah.
shit on someone's day besides Zeus, you know? Because the
Yeah.
deck has
I mean,
turned very rinse repeat.
no, and you made a good point. Is that the deck? I mean, the deck's been butchered to death.
For
And Konami
years.
has tried other. We've tried different ratios with Barrage. We tried bringing Dry one, but that didn't work. Maybe Rapier coming off the list slowly might just be enough to like give them kind of a niche. Who knows?
I mean, if
Um,
anything, look at it this way. We're starting to get shit like stuff for, what is it? We're starting to get cards. Look at stuff like Engage, where we've gotten Engage back the past few ban lists. They made a misstep with Dryden. So I think Rapier is probably next on the chopping block for a toss back into the player's furnace. The main reason, other than that, because the only other card they would have to bring back, besides like Barrage and shit, is literally Borbo. Or not Borbo, sorry, Broadbull. And Broadbull's too broken to come back. Like, no.
Bill wasn't even a question. Yeah,
Yeah,
that card.
Broadbull's, no, they never come back. So I think Rapier is definitely the addition that would make this at least something fucking interesting, man. I love Zodiac. I just hate what people have been doing with it lately. I mean, it's just kind of, it's just all it is.
And then the other card you brought up that before we started streaming, which I actually piqued my interest a bit, was Birdman, and I'm
Okay.
assuming that's a little
Yeah,
little
this
bit
is
more
this
than
is
just.
because of the Hulk thing. So, Birdman
It
was
is okay.
forever, it is part of the Hulk situation. So Birdman wasn't really hit because of Hulk. It was hit due to, I think, it was like some stupid. It was Divine Winds in
Right.
Mist Valley. Some stupid shit you could do with
Yeah.
that. Um, or like there was, obviously it has something to do with the ability to return monsters to hand, and then just shitting out this free non once per turn level 2 tuner or level 3 tuner
Yeah.
that got you into like fucking Black Rose or like Bryonac if you have a level 3 already set up.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
it's a good card. It's doing it's almost non-existent at one. So that's why.
literally nobody's fucking running it at 1. So like
Yeah.
I mean, just to lean, hell, just to fucking give Gen X back their fucking tuner, man. Like it doesn't matter. What the fuck are Gen X gonna do? What is Birdman actually going to do right now, other than maybe let you
Because
bounce back a kaiju to make fucking
well,
what?
because the Mist Valley field spell is still
Is
at one,
at
right?
1. Yes, it is
Yeah.
still at 1. It can remain at 1. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about Mist Valley. I would like to
Yeah.
see
No.
Gen X Allied Birdman come back more of the more towards, it's just a fucking cool tuner, man. You know, especially with Dark Worlds coming back, they're gonna, having the access to 2 level 3 dark tuners could in certain cases be useful to make, like, I don't know, some decks that are playing the punk engine. You could throw this in with it. Bounce
Yeah.
back a punk, have another tuner instead, get a dark monster in graveyard for like players who play beginning of the end or the chaos variants.
Yeah, and speaking of the dark, I mean, I can't wait for the Dark Ruler structure deck. You know, that's my pet deck. And I think because of the structure deck and that we're getting Tsuchinoko as a reprint, I think Tsuchinoko would come back to 2. I don't think they would do anything for Jackalope. I don't think Jackalope they would touch. I could be wrong. Because
We
again,
have been wrong before. We've been very
it
wrong
is a once
before.
per it's been a once per turn. It's still like an e-telly-esque effect, but seeing more copies of it is still opens up that opportunity to be able to spam out the board. With Tsuchinoko, it's just a beige that also gets you a draw and discard.
Exactly.
Um, and coming back to 2, where most deck profiles, especially back when the Cannon Soldier Firewall FTK was a thing, like we're only ever running 2 copies. I could almost argue you could bring this back at 3, and I see people still only running 2. But we'll we'll
BA.
we'll semi-limit it just to kind of uh, just to see how it does. It's not going to do anything. You're going to see like an extra copy of this in Phantom Knight. That's
Yeah.
it.
Phantom Knight, like maybe Orchest.
Uh,
That's about it. Um,
and then our last card
we have
for
2 more.
it's we got, what do we got?
We got Metaverse because of Mystic Mine. We'll just get that out of the way. Mystic Mine limited to 1. Metaverse can come back to 2, just to start
Yeah,
off, and then bring it to 3 later if it's,
yeah,
still
no,
fine.
yeah, exactly. See what it does for a format. It's because again, one Mystic Mine will not make will is not worthy of like a full dedication to a deck. Um, and thinking about it, it just kind of fits. It kind of fits how Konami would like kind of see it, where it's like, okay, we got rid of 2 copies of Mystic Mine, so here's 2 searchers now to basically kind of replace them. But at the same time, not really that powerful. But at the same time, it's like no, you'll see Metaverse in like lair builds or zombie world builds, that kind of shit. I don't see with one Mystic Mine, maybe, but I don't see it being like I don't see it being that heavy of a with
Nah,
one Mystic Mine.
Metaverse won't be anywhere near as good with one Metaverse. Or sorry, yeah, no, I said that right. Shit, English. I actually did it right this time.
And then what's our last semi limits? Because I think that was everything.
Card destruction.
Oh God, yeah, no, I didn't have that on my list because I still think that card. I see where you're coming from. It's a -1. It's only ever good in one specific deck out of the history
Mm-hmm.
of its. You never see this card in anything other than Dark World.
We're
It coming back.
literally about to get a structure deck. This could come back to 2, no fucking problem. Because Tearlaments getting card destruction, you card destruction a Tearlament player, and they will laugh at you.
Yeah, yeah, no, pretty much. I mean, and the fact that again it is an inherent -1.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you're giving your opponent basically a brand new hand, filling up their graveyard, potentially drawing into hand traps. Yeah, I can kind of see it, and also you never know. Like this could be one of those cards that they just at some point slip on like a once per turn like
Mm-hmm.
effect. Well, there's a lot of cards on that's kind of the gimmick with the Forbidden Limited list in the first place is the fact that 90% of this shit could come off if it just had a hard on it.
Oh,
Um,
easy.
yeah, but no, card destruction. Yeah, no, that'd be interesting to see, maybe. But yeah, no, it's a valid point. Like even with 2 copies, I still see like me as a player. I think I would still run it at 1. Given the fact that you got tier limits and shit like that, and 1 has always ever been like fine.
Yeah, but
The bill,
you
but
see,
used to it.
yeah,
I know it's
you
been
see
at 1.
you see a little side of the argument. All right, let me scooch down here to the unlimits. I'm gonna leave that bottom. Never mind. Well, let me leave the bottom one. So, uh,
Uh, 2 of them I feel like are self-explanatory, just because it's what Konami's been doing with the semi-limited lists, bumping it from 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3. But Wall of Revealing Light, I feel like is an easy, quick swipe through.
mm-hmm.
It's gonna do shit. It does shit. It's a
Absolute
battle
jack
trap.
shit.
It's worse. Huh?
Absolute jack shit.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be. I thought you said objection.
No,
I
no,
was
no,
gonna
no.
be like, but yeah, no, it's not going to do anything. You're going to see like stupid people try to bring back Magical Explosion FTK. It's not going to work. Not with this.
No.
So yeah, that absolutely can come off the list. It's not going to. It's going to do again. If Heavy Storm comes back with all this other shit, it's worse than dog shit.
Burr. Oh, bye.
And yeah,
Dynamite Knight
Dynamite Knight
was doing
absolutely
nothing.
get 3.
Was literally doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, with Diagram to 1 Masterpiece Band, the Dracos need this hard.
Uh-huh.
And Art of Demise Limited, friggin' the Dracos need this hard. They need to
Absolutely.
be at to full power, but not full power, close to full power.
Full power enough.
Yeah. And
And
then yes, swinging back to Helk.
yep. So in light of Hulk being banned on this imaginary Omega Super Ultra Grand Wish list, I would like to see
That'll be
fucking Bulb come back to 3.
Bulbasaur.
I want
Bring
Bulb
back
at 3 because his effect, Glow Bulb's effect is once per duel. Not even just once per turn. It's literally Zephyros. So like, I'm sorry, but it's not Dot Scraper. You're not getting into 1-card Hulk 5-Rax combos with this thing if Hulk's banned. You're getting into maybe Jet Synchron combos. Or like fucking junk speeder combos at best. The only reason I say junk speeder is just because it's like the most common synchro deck. It's literally going to be the default synchro deck after Hulk gets banned.
Yeah, simply put, the reason why reason why it's an easy choice to take it off the list is because it's been at 3 before, and players only run it at 1
Mm-hmm.
because it's a once per, and that's fine because cards like Jet Synchron, I don't think Jet Synchron is a he
Jet
banishes
Synchron's a once
himself.
per turn. Yeah, he just banishes himself from the field.
Yeah, no. So like you could like Jet Synchron is justified staying at 1 because there I'm sure there are ways to like get him back in grave and back in rotation. With Glow Up Bulb, you can do whatever you want with the other 2 copies. They're garbage because you've already used the once per duel effect.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Bulb to 3 just kind of just makes, again, out of everything else that are tuners to slowly come off the list because of Hulk, we felt like Steam and Bulb were the
First 2.
safer pick without,
Yes.
without going too crazy, without going too nuts out of the gate.
Yeah, no, because there are other picks that could be brought off that are a little more unnecessary, I guess you could say.
Do we have but I think that's it. Did we want to do
Yeah, we
we
can
were
do honorable
talking about
mentions
this.
if you
Did we
want. We got
Yeah,
plenty of
all
time.
right. All right, okay. All right, 10
Let
4.
me write them down.
So this is just purely based on what we've talked about in previous lists because I was looking at other our previous streams today real quick as to what we had on our previous list just in case we missed anything. So like Blaster, we talked about Blaster before. It can come back to 1. It's not going to do anything, but at the same time we were talking about it was kind of a toss between we wanted to pitch Return from a Different Dimension more, and Blaster being able to banish shit and try to and basically feed that just seemed like a little bit too much. So that's why we didn't bring up Blaster on this ban list.
No, absolutely, Blaster could come back. Blaster Fire Dragon Rule absolutely could come back to 1.
Basically, yeah. Next to the other Dragon Rulers, it's by far the weakest. Looking at the grand scheme of consistency, as well as like its effect is its effects are mainly even just summoning itself to be a big swing is mainly for like a
It's a
going
fucking
second
hard
strategy.
once per turn.
Yeah, that too. That effect is a hard once per turn. We had also talked in the past about Eclipse Wyvern.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of the same thing. The fact that he can keep banishing if you can somehow find a way to recur him multiple times. And then same thing. We wanted like Return to be we were heavily wanting Return to be like kind of the one of the cards that would come back. So anything that kind of feeds that strategy, we wanted to kind of like back off from.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, no, I do kind of miss Eclipse Wyvern in the format, but it
No,
definitely could not come back.
no, it's the third baby dragon that we never got when these two came into the game. The Collapse Serpent and Eclipse Wyvern.
Here's another
Max
good one.
never.
Summon Sark.
No, yeah, you had brought up Summon Sark earlier today. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I mean maybe like try it at 1 and then see what it does. If it literally comes and goes like Snat Steel, then so be it. But yeah, no, Summon Sark maybe that would be a really good one. Um, real quick, Max C. No,
No, no.
I'm sure we've been advocate about that before. We've kind of teetered on it, but no, I'm heavily against Max C. Um, Harp
Maxi is
horror, of
just going
course.
to
Or
have in parentheses caps lock no. All right, so actually, do you mind if I scroll back to the Maxi argument real quick? I do kind of
yeah,
want to.
go for
I do
it.
kind of
Yeah,
want to scroll over this a
I
minute.
figured this. Go ahead.
So, the reason why I think, or at least
Max.
I think we would have the shared opinion of Maxi not coming to the TCG is I've made the argument that Maxi, or like OCG versus TCG, the TCG more comparatively likes to keep board breaking cards like Raigekis, Dark Hole, Lightning Storm, Evenly Matched, etc. You know, gazillion different options to just slap down a one card and wipe a board. So, in my opinion, they prefer the Ghost second metagame, or at least the metagame that forces your opponent to think more about breaking a board rather than just relying on how far they want to dedicate into digging their own grave, or how many hand traps you draw based on how many times your opponent.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you made a good point. Similar to how we keep bringing up, like how because of Halka Fibrax, all these tuners are banned. Because of Electromite being banned, all these cards can come off. Max C is that kind of filter where having it in the format means that your opponents are going to play a bit slower to make sure you don't get that much advantage. But then at the same time, then if you're not trying to create like these big boards, well, then these big board breakers are obviously going to be 100 times more powerful.
Exactly, when you're going
But
one
with
for two with 5 cards in hand afterwards, you know.
Yeah, and then with Max C banned, we can have all these board breakers. Your opponent can do whatever the hell he wants, but we get like, I don't think we've had like this many options in the past where it comes to like being able to just clear a board with just one card. Like what we got, we like God.
I'm not gonna say I
Darkhold,
almost had Feather
Regeki,
Duster to 3.
Feather Duster to 3. Good God. Yeah, no. Then watch the price on Lightning Storm just plummet. But yeah, no. I mean that's a fair argument about Max C, and that's the reason why like we have so much of these cards coming off the list is because Max C isn't in the format to kind of filter our game set or our mindset as far as how we want to set up our boards.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it allows players to more dedicate on the on pretty much dealing with the options that are in at hand rather than what options they have later down the line, or what it prevents you from hoping to draw a good card. Instead, it forces you to play an X amount of good cards this way you see them.
Correct. And then Harp Horror we talked about. I mean, see what it does in one, see what Orcus does. They're not going to do much. There's just so much that they'd have to try to push through to deal with it. We had talked about Victory Dragon, that they just need to slap this card cannot be used, just like all the other cards that are in this game that have the exact same effect.
Yes.
I'll bring this up for you because I know this is a card you want off the list that we had talked about but did not bring back. This is Colossus.
Yes.
Just Colossus. Yeah, again with we were because of tier limits, because of my argument against Colossus to stay banned is mainly just because this is just another topic, just like Maxi, where it's such a good card, and where fusions are probably at the best that they have ever been. Like throwing Colossus into the mix would just be a lot. Even though we're hitting,
then you'd have to hit fucking the Nemesis
right,
level 4
yeah.
and shit.
We brought up Nightmare Goblin before. We were teetering between Nightmare Goblin and Mermaid, but Mermaid is still too heavily tied to Orcust, and it was either Mermaid or Harp Horror. Harp Horror just makes the most sense. But we had talked about Goblin in the past.
I think that'd be perfectly fucking fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine because it think about it, like ever since we the mindset of link climbing pretty much died when we reset the master rulings to free zones again for the extra decks. Because before, link climbing was like the way you built a board because you had to use those link arrows. Now you don't have to use those link arrows anymore. I mean, I'm sure Nightmare Goblin. There's more. There's more to it than what we're leaning on. But I mean, we're not.
I
We're
mean,
not taking.
I guess
You've
the
made the argument.
Alistair fucking combos would be broken.
Yes. Yes, very much.
Okay, so
You,
like, he'd be using like Trickstar, Invoked, stuff that really gets a good effect based on normal summon.
yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And no. I'm just going through. Like I said, I have a list that from just past ban list or past streams that we've done. But you had brought one up that I never even considered. Ptolemaeus. That one. I agree with. I like. Tell me why this card is banned, because honestly, it's been a hot
Sidra.
mess. Is that really it?
Yeah.
That's really the reason?
Yeah, it was literally banned because of Infinity.
I mean, would it really be that bad if it came back to one?
Literally Galaxy Soldier, bro.
Yeah. No, pretty much.
Like,
yeah.
Galaxy Soldier's at fucking 3, so just bring it back. Listen, I'm sorry, but I don't give a flying fuck if you're gonna take 3 of your level 4 monsters to make a dude I can just Veiler or Imperm.
Yeah.
And have it immediately die and shit the bed.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, motherfucker, let Constellars make Diamond again. Like, Constellar Diamond doesn't do shit anything good. Like, I mean, actually, no, Constellar Diamonds. Oh my god, I'm a fucking idiot.
What?
No, Corey, the answer to the whole tier limit format is Constellar Diamond.
You're gonna have to refresh me on that. I don't have that.
I got you. Hold up. Let me pull this up on EDO Pro. Oh, this is totally gonna fucking overlay on the.
Oh, that's the one that just shuts. That's the one that just shuts off darks, right?
No.
No, why am I?
I got you. Hold up, EDO Pro's gonna be a piece of shit.
One card not shining bright like a diamond in my head right now. I gotta look this up.
I'm sorry about that.
But real quick, can we? You want to? Did you want to just wrap up this stream with one more card that I? Because we've talked heavily about copying the OCG or OCG copying us. What's your take on Spellbook of Judgment?
I
mean, out of all the cards to let loose unerrated, yeah, it's at 1, but freaking for how good the card was and the shit you can do for that archetype can do with it, like I personally don't see it. And again, like we've talked about with Max C, like OCG is a different, bolder animal than the TCG, but a lot of people are like itching at the idea that maybe Judgment could come back to 1. I'm against it. I didn't know if you had a counter argument to that or what you thought, because we actually didn't like when the OCG dropped their ban list, like we really didn't like react too much to it. Like a lot of it made sense, but a lot of it was also.
So my argument with, I mean, fuck it, I really don't care if you want to bring back Judgment, yeah, feel free. Please bring Spellbook back for a format. I really don't fucking care. But
I don't want to bring back
demented
people.
I'm kind of indifferent, but I'm indifferent in a way where I agree with both keeping it on the ban list for certain reasons and kind of taking it off for certain reasons. So the things that are kind of tugging me to keeping it on the ban list include, I've seen motherfuckers add 6 cards from their deck to their hand at the end of their turn off this card. I don't want to see this shit happen in Mr. Rune. I'll light that shit on fire the first time I see it and throw it in the garbage can to let it burn into its, into its home and dust back into carbon that will turn. Anywho.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Mainly, I mean, like, dude, fucking Judgment's a quick play spell, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Like, you fire Wisdom And like any other spellbook quick play that they have in existence in that card, like in that deck, you can fire that shit on your opponent's turn. During your opponent's end phase, just fucking search 2 for free. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
excuse me. But
yeah, I think
Mr. Rune
that's
shit aside, and like things that I just don't want to see the deck like thrown into, I personally would just like to see spellbooks come back at some sort of capacity of power. But they really need to errata judgment.
I don't know how you would errata judgment, but you're right. They need that
You can
push.
only activate one of these effects per turn.
Judgment's a hell of a swing, but it also like here's my argument for it. Actually, coming back to one is that people were skeptical as hell when Engage came back. Like Engage is a different animal. Engage is not +6,
No,
like or
Engage is
anything.
not +6.
And Engage, as we've seen in recent formats since it came back to one, has been tame at one. Judgment, Judgment, maybe like that's the thing. Spellbooks have a lot of searchability for their decks, but also being able
I
to
mean,
copy shit.
I don't know because fucking anti-spell's really popular right now in the side deck, so
Anti
maybe.
spells popular and free. A lot of and again, Spellbook of Judgment is not going to do anything against most combo decks that rely mostly on monster effects than anything, or
Oh shit,
trap
I just
or
realized anti-spell ain't going nowhere.
why you bring that up.
Mr. Rune.
Oh yeah, no, Mr. Oh no, Mr. Oh, they actually changed the name. Funny enough.
Yeah, it's like, oh fuck, what is it? It's like dungeon something.
No, it's like hold on. I'll tell you in a minute. Runic.
Oh, that's what it was. It was Runic. See, fucking Tunic.
Yeah, no, Runic or Runic, whatever.
Nah.
Um, I don't know, not as catchy as Mister Rune. Actually, I thought is definitely more ominous and catchy. Um, but yeah, no, that aside, we're getting off topic. So yeah, no, I still say a hard pass on Judgment, but at the same time, you make a good point. Like we have Fragrance, we have Ash Blossom, and we have all the. Actually,
On the
yeah, does
effects
that?
too. Ash Blossom can hit it, yeah. Ash
Yeah,
Blossom can
no, yeah.
straight up
So
negate its effect. I think Ash Blossom can just straight up negate it
yeah, I think so. I just
because one of
from
the
me
effects is to add.
from me personally, I remember when spell books were at full power, and not even just the pluses that you get off of this, but also being able to just shit out a Jaugen and literally do like the barrier statue thing of just shutting off your opponent's ability to spam. It's just
All right.
it's a pain in the ass to deal with.
No, entirely. All right.
But
So
I know,
we will
yeah, I
call
think
this
that's that.
the wrap up for the discussion portion of this.
Yep.
And now let's us commence to shoot the shit options because fuck it, I feel like just kind of chilling out for a little bit. So just to release this into the press of the YouTube existence. This is why I say Stellar Knight can Stellar Diamond is literally the best out for fucking. It's pretty much like the best Waking the Dragon target. Wait, does it need?
Yeah, no,
Nope.
this is the card I was thinking of. Yeah,
Yep. Well, this card is X Z material. Neither
yeah,
player can send cards from the deck to the graveyard, and any card that returns from the graveyard to the hand is banished instead. During either player's turn, when an opponent's dark monster activates its effect, detach material, negate the activation if you do destroy that card.
yeah. So if you can dedicate to this, again, assuming you can before they start, tier like on tier zero, turn zero, be able to try to slow down your shit. But if you get into this, yeah, no, it pretty much just shuts.
I mean, like, literally waking the dragon and find some way to attach material to it, and that'd be it.
So did you want to get some games in, or just shoot the shit?
I forget shit, because I gotta. I'm like,
All
my
right,
brain. I'm starting to fade.
all right,
Brain's
7-4.
activity is fading. Yeah, no. I definitely fucking enjoyed the. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let me. We're gonna probably have a send off. Good night to everybody on the non-existent audience. Wow, I cannot English anymore. Here, I'm gonna call you offline.
It's after midnight. It's all good. Yeah, vocabulary is not a necessity anymore. All right. Did you already end the stream?
Ending it right now. So let's say, have a good night, everybody. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Say a happy birthday to Carnage in the fucking comments, or else I will find you and feed you to my very cute kitty cat. What's up from the deck? Have a good night. Sorry for catching you on the way out, my dude.
He also has ferrets. Not everyone.
Well, a ferret. Singular.